Good morning, everyone. I have Unified Command here who is going to provide an update on the incident.
Good morning, Adam Adams, Federal On-Scene Coordinator with the Environmental Protection Agency, overseeing the response effort. To begin, there's been no significant changes from yesterday's press release. As far as the tank farm, the incident location, it continues to become more stable and more secure every day. It's assessed basically hourly. It's secured if it's needed, and the steps just continue. As you move out, we have water operations going on to recover the oily water and products in the water in the Ship Channel and Tucker Bayou and Buffalo Bayou. Resources have no, let me say this pretty good. There's been no reduction in response effort since we started on March the 17th. Across the board, on any effort, there's been no reduction in effort, whether it's resources, whether it's application, whether it's boat ops, there's been no reduction. If anything, there's been a significant increase every day on the response effort from all agencies as well as ITC. Going back to the situation, the focus on the water, we have pockets of oil. The primary one is Tucker Bayou that we're focusing on. Then we have some smaller pockets that are actually in Buffalo Bayou and in the Ship Channel. My Coast Guard counterpart that's providing support to me will provide some more details about that, but it's improved since yesterday. As we move farther out in the community, air monitoring in the community by EPA, TCEQ, Harris County, the local authorities, ITC, has increased. It continues to stay at a high level of priority across the board. There's been no alerts to me or Unified Command that warranted a response notification to the stakeholders and to the local authorities to make the determination some action is required. Shelter in place, evacuation. No notifications of air monitoring results above 1 part per million have been made. Just to clarify, 1 part per million is the same thing as 1,000 parts per billion. I've seen it on the news. The numbers are 1,000 parts per billion. That's the same as the units that we've been talking about since Sunday last week. 1 part per million. If we get a detection of 1 part per million, we're going to notify the stakeholders and then get it out to the community to take action. So you can trust that if it's 1,000 parts per billion, it's the same as 1 part per million, and we will let you know. Also, as this location, everybody knows that the weather conditions change continuously. We've prepared for that. Unified Command has prepared for that. We've watched the weather coming from the northeast yesterday. It shifts over to, from the southwest yesterday, and now it's from the northeast today, and probably tomorrow it's going to be coming from the Gulf. We have response efforts in the community conducting air monitoring in preparation for that. We're watching the forecast. So if we get alerts as the wind shifts sooner than expected or later than expected, we're watching those air concentrations in advance, and we're going to make those notifications as soon as we get alerts of 1 part per million or more in the community. The top priority is protection of public health and the environment every day. As of the last 24-hour period, the recovery operation on the water, yesterday we had recovered over 20,000 barrels of oily water, and the report this morning was over 33,000 barrels of oil. So it's increased. Every day it's more effective, and that's a positive thing. This morning the numbers are over 60,000 feet of boom, containment boom, in the waterway, Buffalo Bayou, and Harris Ship Channel. In addition, 2,500 feet of ocean boom is being utilized. That's primarily across Tucker Bayou to prevent the accumulation of oily product that's in Tucker Bayou from further releasing into Buffalo and the Ship Channel. It's covering the confluence between Tucker and Buffalo Bayou, as well as the co-located dock area. So resources continually increase as the response needs it, and there's been no decrease in response effort since we started on March the 17th. Thank you.
Para los medios en español voy a hablarles un poco en español sobre lo que dijo el señor Adam Adams de la Agencia de Protección Ambiental. Básicamente no se han presentado cambios significativos, el incidente es cada vez más seguro y se están realizando monitoreos cada hora, monitoreos constantes de la situación. Hay operativos todavía en el canal de navegación, en Tucker Bayou y Buffalo Bayou. No se ha reducido el nivel de respuesta, siguen muchos grupos de trabajo respondiendo a esta eventualidad desde el día 17 de marzo cuando comenzó este incidente. Sí, no ha habido disminución, pero de hecho ha habido un incremento en el número de efectivos que han respondido. Hay producto todavía en Tucker Bayou. Se está tratando de contener este producto en esta zona con lo que se conoce como booms, que es un material para rodear el combustible y mantenerlo en una zona, mantenerlo contenido en la misma zona. Hasta este momento no hay alertas que puedan indicar la necesidad de evacuación de la población o de que mantengan resguardo, de que haya un shelter in place. Hasta este momento no existe. No ha habido lecturas que indiquen más de una partícula por millón y cuando exista un reporte, una lectura de más de una partícula por millón, se reportará a los medios para que lo den a conocer a la comunidad, por supuesto. Se están monitoreando también las condiciones del viento, ha habido cambios en la dirección, se espera que mañana el viento venga a esta zona procedente del Golfo de México y están monitoreando también los cambios que pudieran presentarse en el momento en el que cambiara la dirección del viento. Ayer se habían recogido más de 20,000 barriles de petróleo. Al día de hoy hay más de 33,000 barriles de petróleo que se han recuperado de la zona del canal Tucker Bayou y Buffalo Bayou.
Good morning. I'm Lieutenant Commander Karen Damon, and I am from the Coast Guard office here in Houston. I am going to report out today on Houston Ship Channel port status, as well as the recovery operations that are occurring on water. As you know, yesterday we had several test vessels transit the Houston Ship Channel, and they were successful. We measure success by not having any product on the hull coming into the unaffected areas. Therefore, we were able to coordinate movements through the Houston Ship Channel in the affected area for 6 ships and 66 towing vessels. We also were able to open the San Jacinto River for daylight operations only, meaning that the vessels could transit the San Jacinto River. Additionally, we were able to conduct recovery operations in support of the EPA's Federal On-Scene Coordinator. Today, we will look to continue recovery operations on water. We have noticed some oil pockets or some product pockets within the Houston Ship Channel, and we'll continue recovery operations throughout today with boom, skimmer, vac trucks, and the like. We will also monitor vessel traffic through the Houston Ship Channel. Again, coordinated movements only. The Houston Ship Channel does remain closed at this time, but our vessel traffic service is coordinating traffic or vessel transits throughout the Houston Ship Channel as well as the San Jacinto River. Thank you.
También para los medios en español un poco de lo que dijo la Guardia Costera, Karen Damon. Varios barcos entraron y salieron del canal de navegación ayer. Este dato se reportó a la prensa desde el día de ayer. No hubo ningún problema, no hubo ninguna situación de riesgo en esta maniobra de entrada y salida de los buques. Hay operaciones todavía de recuperación de petróleo en la zona del canal de navegación y la Guardia Costera está apoyando a la Agencia de Protección Ambiental en el desarrollo de esta actividad, de este operativo. A las zonas del canal de navegación en Houston se siguen los operativos en esta parte para lograr sacar lo que queda del combustible.
Good morning. My name is Jeff Coonsey with the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. Regarding our air monitoring efforts over the last 24 hours, I can only echo Mr. Adams' statement from the EPA, and that the TCEQ air monitoring revealed no exceedances of any action levels that will require the notifications mentioned by Mr. Adams. Our water sampling, our surface water monitoring plan, we currently have TCEQ's surface water quality staff out monitoring yesterday a total of 17 sites beginning in the battleground area, working their way south through all the bays, the most southernmost point being off of Crystal Beach, off of Galveston, covering quite an extensive area for that sampling. The next item would be TCEQ is reviewing the ITC waste management plan, awaiting approval of that to begin overseeing the cleanup efforts and disposal of the waste generated by the incident. And finally, as additional air monitoring and water quality data becomes available, TCEQ will continue posting the results of that on its website at the ITC Fire page on our website, which a link is provided from our main page.
Sir, could you interpret some of the findings on that site?
We're going to finish the press release. Please save your question.
Thank you.
El monitoreo del aire ha seguido de manera constante. TCEQ no ha detectado exceso de partículas que pudieran poner en riesgo a la población. El monitoreo de agua continúa, se sigue haciendo en diferentes puntos, desde esta zona hasta casi el área de Galveston, hasta Crystal Beach. Y TCEQ está en este momento esperando la aprobación de la estrategia para la limpieza y la recuperación de la calidad del agua en esta zona.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Brent Weber, Incident Command. I'm going to give you kind of update on where we are in the situation right now. So Unified Command remains in proactive response mode, which is a good thing. Our objectives for the last 24-hour period were the similar themes to what you've been hearing the last few days. Remove product from the tank farm in the containment area, remediate the ditches, and then continue remediating our waterways. I'm glad to report that we had no impact to our community yesterday while working on these objectives and no injury to any responder working. We made good progress. We continued our focus on the benzene-containing tanks, and because of the changing wind shift and our continued focus on the benzene tanks, we weren't able to start the 80-13 transfer, which will be one of our objectives today. We made significant progress on the remediation efforts in the ditches along Tidal Road, Independence, and within the ITC property. And as the U.S. Coast Guard and EPA mentioned, we made significant progress in the remediation of the waterways. The Unified Command set our objectives for the next 24-hour period, which are very similar. We'll continue removing product from the tank farm and the tanks that were impacted during the fire. We continue our remediation efforts in the ditches, the roadways, and within the ITC boundaries. And the U.S. Coast Guard and the EPA, as Mr. Adams said, is continuing to remediate the waterways with a significant amount of resources on the Houston Ship Channel. So once again, we have those objectives with the goal of doing all of that without impacting our community and maintaining the safety of our responders. And now I'm going to turn it over to the mayor. Oh, I'm sorry.
La estrategia que se está siguiendo en este operativo sigue siendo proactiva. Las prioridades son remover el producto, por supuesto, de los tanques, recuperar la zona, porque hubo áreas en donde hubo cierta ruptura de las vallas de protección, y transportar el producto que queda hacia zonas más seguras. No ha habido incidentes de personas heridas, de personas que hayan respondido en esta emergencia, que hayan resultado con alguna lesión. Se sigue monitoreando la calidad del aire, hay progresos en esta área, y las zanjas siguen reparándose para volver lo más pronto posible a la normalidad.
We will continue to monitor the situation, and I would say we remain very cautiously optimistic in regards to the risk that is continuing to subside in our community. With safety being the top priority for our residents, we're continuing to monitor air and water in the city of Deer Park, and I'm just, y'all have heard me say now for well over a week, I am blown away at the response that has occurred here in this particular instance. I will continue to thank the responders from the beginning of the incidents to now, as it has progressively evolved from the local to the state and federal. The response has been incredible. And I'm just absolutely standing here blown away as they have worked to ensure every day my concerns as public safety. If you continue to monitor this situation, the City of Deer Park will continue to put out information, and you can go to a City of Deer Park website to get that information.
We will now take a few questions starting from this side.
Commander, when do you expect the Houston Ship Channel will reopen, and how much contamination have you found or estimate still in the water?
Good morning. Thank you for that question. So with the Houston Ship Channel, obviously it is a very dynamic port. So right now the Houston Ship Channel remains closed. I would like to emphasize that we were able to resume cargo operation at all the facilities within the affected area late last night. We will have vessels transiting the area today. Again, that is through the efforts of the port coordination team. It's a coordinated body prioritizing vessel movements throughout the Houston Ship Channel, and those will be coordinated efforts, one-way traffic during daylight operations only. And the reason for that is we have visual inspections teams on scene that are stationed at either end of the channel there to verify that there is no product on the hulls of those ships. So the last thing we want is to take product from an affected area into a non-affected area. So to address that question, we will open the Houston Ship Channel when we've determined that it is safe and there is no visible product remaining in the waterway, and that they are not impacting the vessels transiting that area. To address the product, we do have 2 aerial overflights that happen every single day, and we assess the entire impacted area. We have noticed pockets of product in the San Jacinto port, as well as Carpenter's Bayou, Tucker's Bayou, and Old River. So again, those pockets are being addressed through that 60,000 feet of boom that the Federal On-Scene Coordinator provided you, and we're doing our best as far as recovery operations to corral the product and recover it as swiftly as possible. Thank you.
Next question, right here.
Yesterday, you have 1,600 claims about the business and people who are just presenting claims. How is the situation right now?
So far, we've had 2,000 calls to our claims hotline, and we've had 300 written claims submitted.
Right here.
Much of the product appears to have gone inches underneath the water, and likely underneath the boom. How are you guys addressing that?
So we've triple tiered, essentially put tiers of boom in place. We also have skimmers on water, both on the opposite side of the boom, what we call the outboard side of the boom, as well as in the contained areas. So those skimming vessels that we talked about in previous briefs, we've had those skimming the external pieces of the boom. We've layered that boom, and then we've also had skimmer operations occurring within the boom.
Okay, I have 2 questions. One, I guess, would be to the Deer Park local authorities. Do you feel confident that ITC implemented the 911 system, basically notified them quickly enough following, recognition of there was a problem to enlist their help as needed? And if you could please address it.
Yes.
And one one more question from the TCEC. Can you interpret the sites? You know, I've been sent with this question, so make the results more, say, understandable so the regular public could discern them a lot easier.
Thank you for that question. Actually, before I came, I printed out one of the reports from the website from samples taken on the 21st, were released preliminary on the 24th. The constituents are compared against two sets of regulations that provide protective concentration levels for the public. And so you have a comparison value. So you have a comparison value for the constituents detected versus the protective concentration, the regulation. In this particular report, the analytes were detected but were below the protective concentrations. The other sample, they were not detected at all. And so to give that context as you read the report may assist with knowing that there's a set of standards in the regulation and what the detections were. Any other details, I would refer you to the surface water quality monitoring staff at the Houston Regional Office. They'd be more than happy to discuss and help interpret that data. Thank you.
Right here. Are you able to reassure everyone that ITC's parent company is going to stand behind ITC to pay all the valid claims that come through?
Between ITC's insurance and our available financial resources, ITC will prevail through this.
And will we be able to ask questions to senior ITC and Mitsui executives?
I would have to defer that question and come back to you with an answer.
I'll add just a second. I can assure you that our executives are very, very involved, working very hard with this incident, and they will guide us in the right direction and make sure that we have the resources to ensure that we get back to where we were.
I have two quick questions. One, where are your executives? How come we haven't seen them at any of these press conferences? And the second one, could you talk about the environmental impact to the channel thus far? Yesterday at Morgan's Point, I noticed people fishing. Is it safe?
I'll address your first question first. I am an executive of ITC as the incident commander.
But like the CEO.
The CEO is heavily involved in this response, and his job is to support me as incident commander to assure that I have every available resource I need to get ITC and the community and the federal government through this incident as quickly as possible with minimal impact to the responders in the community. As soon as the incident is over, I'm sure that will change, but right now, his primary focus and ITC's primary focus is to get through this incident.
And my second question about environmental impact.
As far as fish consumption, I believe, and the best source to confirm it is to go to the Texas Parks and Wildlife website. But I believe that there's fish consumption advisories in place. They may have been in place prior to this incident. I don't have a start date right now. That fish consumption of fish from the channel should not be. You shouldn't eat the fish.
Is that
One
shellfish?
question left.
Shellfish as well?
I haven't seen that advisory, but so I would go to the website to confirm it, the details.
One question left.
A source tells me, this might be an EPA or ITC question, but a source had told me that hydrogen sulfide at 10 parts per billion was found in the area right across the highway. It's the freshman campus of the high school. They said that Thursday morning that was in the air. Do you think that could possibly have come from this, since that was the morning that the benzene kind of scare was happening? And if so, is that, I don't know much about hydrogen sulfide. I'm a reporter, but can you tell me?
I haven't gotten any notifications of any hydrogen sulfide detection since we started.
I want to thank all of you. Unified Command needs to get back and do the most important tasks that they have on hand. So thank you, Unified Command.